You've heard the infamous quote that one death is a tragedy, a million is a statistic. We've examined these events from a big picture perspective, but now let's move away from the statistics and look at the personal tragedy.
Che Guevara. His image is a global fashion phenomenon. Hopefully, by now, you know why that's so offensive to so many. But giving you the number of executions he ordered is one thing. Seeing the effect is another.
They portray him in the movies as a hero and as a humanitarian. He was a cold killer.
This is Barbara Rangel's grandfather, Colonel Cornelio Rojas.
He was a freedom fighter way before Batista came into power. He was descendant of patriots. His father was a general, and his grandfather was also a general brigadier that fought for the Cuba's War of Independence against Spain.
One day, her grandfather was just gone.
When Fidel Castro and Che Guevara arrived in Havana, it was January '59, and that's precisely when my grandfather disappeared. My family had no idea where he was. All of a sudden, my family was in the living room watching television, and they see my grandfather walking. They were extremely happy to see him, and then they realized that he was walking towards the wall. He started screaming, and my grandmother collapsed. They realized that he's going to be executed. When they asked him if he wanted to be blindfolded, and he said no, and he said, there you have the revolution, take care of it. He asked if he could give the firing orders, and he says, aim, fire. He died like a hero.
And he was executed by cowards.
There was no trial whatsoever. Che Guevara did not allow a trial. He was taken prisoner at the beginning of January and executed January 7th. That is something that I will never forget. There is not one day in my life that I don't think about him.
Barbara's pregnant mother was so traumatized, she went into labor 3 months early.
What is a person supposed to do, you know? Rejoice for the birth of your son, or cry for the death of your father?
Meet Barbara's mother, Blanca.
Che Guevara me quitó lo más grande que yo podía tener en mi vida, porque para mí mi padre era lo más grande, porque él era muy buen padre. Eso me lo quitó el Che Guevara, y por eso 50 años vengo padeciendo, y nunca podré olvidar lo que me hizo.
For those who lived with the real Che, it is impossible to understand, in America of all places, how anyone would want him on a T-shirt.
Please do a lot of research before you make a fool of yourself wearing a T-shirt of a cold killing machine.
Throughout the interview with Barbara and Blanca, they were incredibly strong. But you can see how deeply these events have shaken them, even to this day.
Yo no he podido ser la misma mujer que fui antes, porque yo...
This is the real legacy of Che. It's murder, destruction, and broken families. So what can we do to correct the lies? Maybe it's time to make the truth a bit more fashionable. Maybe it's time to remember what these governments were really responsible for. Maybe it's time to ignore the revisionist rehab of these figures and recognize who they really were. Maybe telling the truth about socialism and communism now can help us avoid all of these things again. Just maybe, speaking up and bluntly telling the truth can stop the next generation from looking at things the same way.